What's up, guys? Killer Rap with Hip Hop Science here, and I'm going to be doing a quick first impression slash review slash analysis of the new Amine Good For You album. And man, this had me feeling a certain type of way. Firstly, it is no surprise that Amine is a huge Andre 3000 fan because I felt 3 Stacks vibes throughout the entire album. He really wasn't afraid to let his soul show on this album, and often there would be very long, melodic, choral lines, and it was really a great listening experience, a very different sound to what we're used to hearing in the media these days. Honestly, this dude could really sing. He didn't really hold back on this album at all, and it really showed that he has some real experience with this, like, vocal techniques and such, because songs like Hero, for example, he's crooning in all sorts of registers, just belting it out at the top of his lungs, and it sounds amazing in my opinion. And the instrumentation definitely backed that up. A lot of it was very new, unique sounds we were hearing in the instrumentals, very spacey ambience, not really the usual trap style we're used to hearing nowadays. And it really was a cohesive project in that respect. The music and the lyrics and everything just fell together and meshed very well across almost the entire album. There were a couple songs that I wasn't really feeling, such as Spice Girls, which I thought was a kind of a just pop hit, or some attempt at it anyway, and I didn't feel like it really fit in with the album, although the lyrics were kind of, in the greater scheme of things, showing off more about, you know, the type of woman he wants and the type of thing he's looking for in life, which I thought was great. But sonically, I just thought it was one of those things that was out of place, but overall just a very cohesive experience in that respect. Lyrically, this album I thought was pretty great. It wasn't really a technical masterpiece by any means, but in terms of the content, it was very consistent and really just showed us a glimpse of the inner Amine. There were bits in there where he was talking about his mother, his sister. Clearly he wants to pay for his sister's tuition and to get his mom out of work, which, I mean, it's noble goals for any artist really, but he just repeated it. It was a common theme. In addition, there was a lot of, I felt, introspection going on. He looks back at his former self and kind of thinks back at what he wants in life, what he didn't want in life, things like that. For example, Turf, which I think is one of the better songs on the album, he talks about being his younger self, looking forward in life, what he wanted, coming from nothing to something, the usual theme that you hear across a lot of these artists' albums. And there was an interesting thing in this song where at first it's him singing the chorus, just crooning off a heartfelt song, and then at the end you have Charlie Wilson spitting it out with, like, just beautiful, obviously it's Charlie Wilson, and it felt like it was progressing from his young self to Charlie Wilson representing his older self, which I thought was really an interesting take on things. Love and respect is another thing he talks about a lot on this album. In fact, there's several songs dedicated to women on this, which is cool. I mean, if that's what the type of music he wants to make. But STFU stood out to me as one of the songs where it truly gave us a perspective of how he feels about this. Now that he's famous, now that he has more than he could have ever expected to have, he's getting more attention than he ever wants, but all he really wants is someone that really understands him, someone that'll sit across the table from him and, get him. He even talks about the woes of capitalism at some point and touches on the concept of the hedonic treadmill, which I thought was really interesting. It's the notion that money doesn't actually bring you happiness, it just brings you temporary satisfaction. But no matter what happens in your life, temporary satisfaction will only last so long, and eventually you'll go back to your baseline. And the goal is ultimately to raise your baseline, which people who come from, nothing to having immediate success and having all the money in the world, often they don't understand this, and they end up being confused and, sad about what they really want in life, which is something he's really expressing over the course of this album. The Nelly and Charlie Wilson feature, I thought, did a good job of adding the value they were supposed to add. The Offset feature I wasn't so sure about, because the type of song I'm not sure that Offset does really well on. I prefer him on grittier beats such as Bad and Bougie or what's that? Met Gala, that's the one. Whew, that was fire. Anyway, overall, I thought this was a very good listening experience. Very cohesive project with a common theme across it. Good new sonic elements, and really just a beautiful display of artistry, in my opinion. One thing though, it did lose a bit of steam at the end, but that's fine. I really enjoyed it all in all. I would give that a solid, 7 out of 10. I don't know what my baseline is. I've never done this before, but 7 out of 10. If it needs to be revalued, reappraised in the future, I'll do that. Anyway, this is Killer Rap with Hip Hop Science signing out. I gotta go to work. It's 8 a.m.